I found out my partner had a secret life, and it destroyed everything. You ever get that gut feeling that something is off, but you just brush it away because you love someone? That was me, about a year ago, when my life completely flipped upside down. It started like any normal Tuesday. I was scrolling through my phone, waiting for Mark to text me back. We'd been together for 3 years, living together in this tiny apartment downtown. He was charming, funny, and honestly, I thought he was the one. But that night, everything changed. Mark had gone out for drinks with friends. Usually, he'd text me when he was on his way home, but that night, nothing. I figured he was just busy, so I didn't stress at first. Around midnight, I got a notification on my phone, a message from a number I didn't recognize. "We need to talk." "About Mark." "It's serious." My heart sank. I froze, staring at the screen like it might just disappear. I didn't know who it was, but something inside me screamed, "Don't ignore this." The next morning, I couldn't focus. I kept replaying the message over and over. Finally, I texted back, "Who is this?" And they replied almost immediately, "Someone who cares about you. He's not who you think he is." I tried to laugh it off. Who would want to lie about Mark? But the curiosity and fear was eating me alive. That night, I came home early from work, pretending like everything was normal. Mark was there, sprawled on the couch, drinking beer and laughing at something on TV. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "How was your night?" "Oh, same old. Drinks with the guys," he said. "Why?" "Nothing, just tired," I muttered, avoiding his eyes. That's when I noticed it, his phone on the kitchen counter, unlocked. Normally, he was careful. My curiosity got the better of me. I picked it up. And there it was. A chat with someone named Lila. "Can't wait to see you tonight." I stared, frozen, my stomach twisting. I kept scrolling. There were dozens of messages, late nights, secret meetings, flirtations, everything you'd expect in a betrayal you never imagined. I couldn't confront him yet. Not until I knew the full story. So I watched. Quietly. Over the next 2 weeks, I followed subtle clues, noticing the small lies. Late night at work, that never matched his emails. Strange receipts for dinners he never went to. Hidden calls he brushed off. I felt like I was losing my mind. But I couldn't ignore the truth. Finally, one night, I confronted him. "Mark, who's Lila?" My voice shook, but I tried to keep it steady. He froze. I'll never forget that pause. Like I'd hit a switch inside him. "She's just a friend," he said. His voice was too calm, too practiced. I laughed bitterly. "A friend? So why do you text her at 2 a.m., saying you can't wait to see her?" He sighed. "Look, it's complicated." "Complicated? I live with you. I love you. How is this complicated?" He didn't answer. That silence said everything I needed to know. Weeks passed. We argued, cried, and tried to patch things together. But the betrayal was too deep. I wanted to leave, but part of me hoped, maybe, just maybe, he would choose me. Then came the twist I never saw coming. I discovered Lila wasn't just a friend. She was his sister. Adopted sister. And they'd been estranged for years. He had been trying to reconnect with her in secret because of a family issue he didn't want to tell me about. I stared at my phone, my mind racing. So all this time, the affair I imagined didn't exist? I confronted him again. "Mark, you're telling the truth? Lila's your sister." "Yes," he said. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. I wanted to handle it myself. I know it looks bad, but I swear, it's nothing like what you think." I didn't know whether to feel relief or anger. Relief that he wasn't cheating, anger that he didn't trust me enough to tell me. We tried to move forward. But something had changed. That shadow of doubt, once planted, never truly disappears. Every time he went out, I caught myself questioning, imagining scenarios, replaying every little lie in my head. Eventually, we drifted apart. Not because he lied about Lila, but because the trust, my trust in him, my trust in us, was broken. We broke up 6 months later. Now, I look back and think, how many times do we let our fears make monsters out of ordinary things? How many relationships crumble because of secrets we think exist, or truths we aren't brave enough to share? Sometimes, love isn't about holding on. Sometimes, it's about letting go, even if your heart still wants to stay. And the hardest part? Realizing that the person you loved most in the world was also the person who couldn't fully let you in. I guess the biggest lesson I learned is, trust isn't just about honesty. It's about courage, the courage to be vulnerable, to face the worst, and to hope someone still loves you after. Because if love without trust is a house, it's just a building that looks pretty from the outside, but it's empty inside. I loved him, but his secret almost destroyed me. I never believed in love at first sight. At least, I didn't until I met Jamie. He walked into the coffee shop where I worked one rainy morning, drenched, carrying this battered leather journal under his arm. He smiled at me like he knew something I didn't, and I swear, my heart skipped a beat. From that day, we were inseparable. 3 months in, he moved in with me. Everything felt perfect, like the kind of love people only write about online or in books. He was attentive, kind, and funny. But like the calm before a storm, there was this tiny flicker I couldn't place. It started with little things. He'd get sudden calls that he'd step outside to answer. He'd smile, then look distant, almost guilty. I didn't want to question it. I loved him. I thought I was being paranoid. Then, one night, I found it. We'd been dating for about a year, and we'd just had a fight about something trivial, him forgetting to call me back, me being clingy. He stormed off to the kitchen, and I stayed on the couch, trying to calm down. That's when I noticed his laptop. It was open, and a folder labeled "Do Not Open" was blinking on the desktop. I know I shouldn't have, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. I clicked it. Inside were photos. Tons of them. Of him. With another woman. Different places, different times. Smiling, holding hands, kissing. I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. My hands shook as I scrolled. I didn't even notice him coming back into the room. What are you doing? His voice was calm, too calm. I turned to him, tears burning my eyes. Who is she? Who's this woman? He sighed, ran a hand through his hair. I was hoping I'd never have to explain this. I froze. Explain what? He sat down beside me, looking tired, haunted. Her name is Emma. She was my fiancé. I blinked. Ex-fiancé? You never told me. I was going to, he whispered. But it's complicated. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something across the room. Complicated? Jamie, we've been living together for a year. You could have told me anything, but you hid your entire past. How is that fair? He grabbed my hand. Emma, she's sick. She needed help, and I promised her parents I'd be there. That's why I couldn't leave her hanging. I didn't want to burden you. I didn't want to lose you either. I felt my chest tighten. Part of me wanted to believe him, the rational part. But part of me wanted to rip him apart. Over the next week, I tried to make sense of it. I confronted Emma online, through a mutual friend, trying to understand the truth. She confirmed it. Yes, Jamie had been helping her. Yes, there was nothing romantic anymore. But yes, it had been messy. Very messy. I thought I could forgive him. I really did. But trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Every time his phone buzzed, I imagined the worst. Every time he went out to check on Emma, I felt my stomach twist. And then came the final twist. One evening, I was home early, and I decided to surprise him with dinner. When I opened the door, I saw Jamie, holding Emma. She was crying. He was crying. And then they looked at me. Not like lovers, but like two people sharing a burden they couldn't carry alone. I don't even know how I didn't scream. I wanted to run, but my legs froze. Emma looked at me and said softly, I didn't know you were with him. I didn't mean to hurt you. And that's when I realized something important. Life is messy. Love is messy. The people we love carry secrets, burdens, and pasts that sometimes aren't ours to judge. Jamie hadn't betrayed me in the way I thought. But the weight of his past, it changed everything. We tried to stay together after that. We really did. I helped him support Emma through her illness, and in some ways, it brought us closer. But there was always that shadow, that knowledge that love is rarely perfect. That sometimes, caring for someone else can feel like betrayal. A year later, Emma passed away. Jamie and I grieved together, but something between us had shifted. We were never quite the same. The love was still there, but fragile, cautious. Sometimes I look back and wonder, would I have handled it differently if I had known from the start? Maybe, maybe not. But what I do know is this: love isn't about ignoring the past. It's about understanding it, accepting it, and still choosing to stay. Because in the end, the heart doesn't forget, but it can forgive. I thought I knew him, until everything came crashing down. I'm not proud of what happened, but sometimes the truth has to be told. I never thought my life would turn into a mess of secrets, lies, and heartbreak, but here I am, still trying to make sense of it. It all started 6 months ago. I had been dating Leo for almost 2 years. He was the kind of guy everyone notices, the tall, charismatic type, with a laugh that makes you forget everything else. He was everything I thought I wanted, until the cracks started to show. It began subtly. A late night here, a vague excuse there. Work, traffic, just needed some space. I ignored it, telling myself I was being paranoid. I wanted to trust him. I really did. Then came the first real shock. One rainy Thursday, I went to his apartment to surprise him with dinner. I had planned the whole thing: candles, pasta, music. But when I opened the door, the apartment was empty, except for a backpack that didn't belong to him. I picked it up. Inside was a pile of letters, all addressed to someone named Sophie. My stomach dropped. I opened the first one. It wasn't love letters, it was confessions. Confessions about a life he had led before me, one he had hidden completely. Crimes, lies, debts, even people he'd hurt, whether intentionally or not. And then, the phone rang. It was him. "Hey, I thought you were coming over later." His voice was casual, but I could hear something underneath: fear? Panic? I held the letter in my shaking hands. "Leo, what is this?" He froze. "Where did you?" "Never mind. We need to talk." That night, he told me everything. Or at least, as much as he was willing to. He had a past that involved shady business deals, dangerous people, and a woman, Sophie, who had been a constant part of that life. He claimed it was over, that he was done with it all when he met me. But the fact he hid it from me, that burned. I wanted to leave. I wanted to scream. But then he said something that stopped me. "I love you," he whispered. "And I swear, I'm not lying about this. I want to build a future with you." I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was love. But I stayed. Over the next few weeks, things seemed normal. But normal in our world was always fragile. One night, I received a message from an unknown number. "You don't know the whole story. He's dangerous. Run before it's too late." My heart raced. Was this someone trying to scare me? Was it Sophie? Someone else from his past? I confronted him. Leo sighed, rubbed his temples. "I told you almost everything. Some things I can't talk about. For your safety." That should have scared me. It didn't. Not completely. I wanted to believe him. Then came the real twist. One Friday evening, we went out for dinner. On our way back, a car pulled up alongside us. The window rolled down. And there she was. Sophie. Alive. Looking more dangerous than any horror movie character. "Leo," she hissed. "You left me. And now she's here." She pointed at me. Leo grabbed my hand. "Get in the car. Now." We sped off. Sophie chased us for what felt like hours. Turns out, she had a vendetta not against me, but against Leo. Something about betrayal, money, secrets. I realized then that his past wasn't just messy, it was lethal. That night changed everything. I saw Leo in a way I'd never seen him before. Determined, scared, protective. And I realized something terrifying. The man I loved had a life I couldn't ever fully be part of. But I also realized I cared too much to leave him. Weeks later, we discovered Sophie had disappeared, moved away, leaving a trail of threats and warnings. Leo assured me she was gone for good. But the damage was done. I couldn't stop replaying that night in my mind. The fear, the adrenaline, the panic. Then, months later, another twist. I found out Leo had been keeping another secret, one that wasn't dangerous, but personal. A child. He had a daughter from a relationship years before me. He hadn't told me because he didn't know how to explain it. We argued. I felt betrayed again. But I also listened, and he explained everything, his fears, his regrets, his hopes. And for the first time in months, I understood him. The man I loved wasn't perfect. He never claimed to be. He was messy, complicated, scarred by his past, but he was trying. In the end, we stayed together. We survived threats, lies, secrets, and betrayal, not by ignoring them, but by facing them. By learning that love isn't about perfection. It's about courage. It's about surviving the chaos together. Sometimes I think about Sophie, about the letters, about the moments I wanted to leave. And I realize something. The person you love will always have a past. Sometimes that past is terrifying. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. But love, real love, is about staying anyway. I don't know what the future holds. But I know this. I survived the secrets, the fear, and the chaos. And in surviving, I found a love I never thought I deserved.